It is better to light just one little candle than to stumble in the dark. Better far that you light just one little candle. All you need is a tiny spark. Peace to everyone. It is a huge privilege to be one of your presenters for this new evangelization conference. Thank you for the invitation. I pray to God that I can somehow satisfy your expectations. If I fail, blame those who invited me. Allow me to present to you a couple of reflections, hoping to bring our evangelization ministry down to earth. When we talk of light challenging the darkness, physical or moral darkness that is, we think of a candle. You light a candle for two reasons: to dispel the darkness and to shed light around. You light your candle because you fear the cold darkness, as well as you desire to move about a bright world. But it could also happen that we appreciate the light all right, but we are comfortable with the darkness. We can dream to be righteous, honorable, true, and holy people, but we would also not set aside our vices. It is always inspiring to watch a candle giving light, at the same time consuming itself. As it burns to give light for others, Mr. Candle is actually burning itself away. A more selfless love than this, no one has. Oh, there's one more thing about a candle. It is nondescript. When not in use, it is set aside where it is usually not noticed. No one thanks a candle for giving light. That is humility. Tonight, we reflect on the theme of light. We proclaim ourselves disciples of Jesus, the light of the world, and that we are gifted to give, being light to the world. We are candles to a darkened world, or more precisely, we are God's candles. For a candle never lights itself. Ironically, if there is no darkness, we do not need a candle. And today's darkness is a moral darkness. It is sin. The sin of not believing in ourselves. It is talking to oneself. I am not good enough. How could that be, you may ask? With so much power, money, success, development, technology around us, we still do not believe in ourselves? Let me throw over a few questions. If nations think they are good enough, why still make war with neighbors? The number one industry in the world is the manufacture and the selling of armaments, tools meant to kill one another. Also, if the rich think they have enough, when will they stop making more money? And if the poor man thinks he is enough, when will he stop complaining? If the powers that be think they are good enough, why the hell are we in a mess? When will we ever stop this self-talk? I have not enough, I am not successful enough, I am not doing enough, I am not good enough. The word shout out today is very disturbing. Life is not good enough. And that is evil. It is the root of evil. Beware. This compromised attitude is a big insult to the Creator, who created us according to His image and likeness. God does not create human trash. Neither does it reflect the heart of Christ, who came to bring us eternal life. And eternal life is the true joy of living. Yes, we are not perfect people, but we are good enough to love and to be loved. We are beautiful people, too precious to be thrown to the waste basket of Malacanang. Too wonderful indeed that God willingly sacrificed His only Son to keep us. I am good enough. I am lovable. I am love-able. Let us pause for a couple of reflections. Reflection number 1. Our evangelizing mission aims to empower the small spark of light in each one of us. There is a certain amount of goodness in each person, in everyone, no exceptions. He was a big-time robber. His execution was just right for him. In his pains, he made a humble request. Remember me when you come into your kingdom. Please, Jesus. And that was good enough. Today, you will be with me in paradise. Just do not forget to wear your face mask. The task of the evangelizer is not to plant the seed. It is already there in our hearts. It was God who planted it. He uses us to make that seed grow and bear fruit. We read in the book of the Acts of the Apostles, I have made you a light to the Gentiles, that you may be an instrument of salvation to the ends of the earth. Consider this. The message of Christ is love. But everyone has a spark of love in his heart, no matter who he is, even the criminal. The nerve to call that not good enough. This is part of my personal credo. Everyone is and could be a little candle. Well, some people look more like birthday candles. Jesus knew fully well that when darkness engulfs the human spirit, doubts, fears, weaknesses, vices, we tend to see our surroundings and relationships with dark glasses. Then, we either stay comfortably in the darkness, or we create a darkened world similar to what is in our hearts. It is plain projection. Instead, Jesus chose to focus on what is good. No matter how feeble a centurion's faith may be, he chose the impetuous Simon Peter. The guy was not qualified. Yet Jesus saw his sense of loyalty, his big capacity for sacrifice. Neither did Jesus spare him the rod. Get behind me, Satan. But he affirmed his wobbly love. Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these? Feed my sheep. Sometimes evangelizers fall into the loser's trap. They strive to be people of light, honorable, holy, and so on. Meanwhile, unconsciously looking at their audience as people in the dark. I am afraid this righteous attitude betrays the unconscious projections of the evangelizer on his people. And projections are our unconscious ways of seeing in other people whatever ugly thing we refuse to see in ourselves. And we carry this in us 24/7, even the saints. Okay, granted that the evangelizer is the light. The place gets lighted while he is on stage. But when the curtains fall on him, the people are back in their darkness. The first choice of the evangelizer, therefore, is to celebrate the goodness in people. Why? Even that funny-looking birthday candle can light up a big fire with its flickering little flame. My friend's daughter She gives fake testimonies in prayer gatherings. And she has Down syndrome. Sociologists tell us time and again that top-down development models fail miserably in the long run. On the other hand, only empowerment from within can bring about real and lasting change. Only when people believe in their capacities will genuine social change or personal metanoia happen. I believe we would be better off when evangelizers cut down on their top-down preaching and focus instead on celebrating what is good in people. That is good news. The enchanting news. That is Evangelium. No wonder, before we celebrate with Mission, our quincentennial of faith, we first went through a 9-year novena to highlight the challenges coming from the richness of our faith as Filipinos. The youth, the family, the parishes, even the OFWs, the poor. The first lines of that song, Everlasting Light, seems apropos to us today. One candle lights one candle. 2 candles light 4. And where they shine, there is no darkness anymore. 2 candles light 4 candles. 4 candles light 8. And in the light of Jesus, we can celebrate. Reflection number 2. Isang daan ito eh. Evangelization demands the courage to change what we should, what we could. If indeed people are good enough, then there is no stopping them from doing something beneficial for the common good or the bigger community. Although I concede that in every given something, there will always be laggards and opportunists, oppositionists, who tend to slow down or totally overturn things. But they are the minority. Now we understand that for Jesus, listen carefully, it was not good enough to have faith in Him. His believers must belong to one another in a community, the church. We have to believe to belong to Him and be baptized to belong to one another. We read at the end of the Gospel of St. Mark, go into the whole world and proclaim the gospel to every creature, the good news, the beautiful news to every creature. Whoever believes and is baptized will be saved. Faith cannot remain a personal relationship with the Lord. It has got to be an ecstatic faith. Ecstatic. Ecstasy comes from 2 words. Ex, yung iniwan ka, meaning out of. Ex, out of. And stasis, meaning to stand. Ecstasy therefore means standing out there. Genuine faith stands outside of one's self. It is lived with others for the sake of others. A faith life that revolves on one's own self is never pleasing to the Lord. Never. Faith is a celebration of God in community with community. That is why we are mandated to come together as a faith family to thank and praise the Lord together at a certain day of the week in the Eucharistic celebration. A faith that is not celebrated with others will die. This simple reflection presents tremendous repercussions for our evangelizing message. I'd like to present to this evangelization conference this dilemma. We are the Catholic nation here in the Asian region. Why are we one of the most corrupt societies? We are the envy of our neighbors when it comes to our Christian faith and culture. Nowhere in the world is Christmas celebrated for 4 months. But why do majority of our people call themselves poor? The answers are written in our hearts. I urge this conference to present concrete responses to our people's social predicament, or else, as evangelizers, we are not good enough. Our beloved country is beset by so many social ills. Filipinos do not deserve this. My heart bleeds. We have tried all sorts of political solutions to our downward spiral. But why are we always back to ground zero? Maybe it is time for a faith solution. The big question, what are church people doing anyway? A lot. When calamities and pandemics like the present one strike us hard, the church mobilizes and she is effective. But these are generally knee-jerk reactions. The bigger question is compassion a cornerstone attitude for us Filipino believers? If so, it must overcome our downside values such as hiya, pakikisama, or kanya-kanya. It is not my intention to sour grape or point fingers. I am here to ignite a faith that burns with courageous compassion. Yes, the courage with compassion, the courage of compassion. This is not the time for cute little candles. Ours is the time for burning torches of faith. The stakes are very high indeed. Our young people are getting more and more alienated from the institutional church. Out of 105 million Filipinos, 80 million are Roman Catholics, supposedly. And if 60% of the population is made up of young people, that sums up to 48 to 50 million young Filipino Catholics. But where are they? Most of them still believe in God, but not anymore in religion. Some are your students. They say they pray, but they shy away from common worship or the Mass. They do not rebel against the church. They are simply absent in church. They wallow in agnosticism, syncretism, or practical atheism. Now I start to think, when the elderly manongs and manangs in church cross the rainbow bridge, will there still be people in church? I don't want to be counted as an alarmist or pessimist, but admittedly, the anemic presence of young people in church is a serious and urgent concern of evangelization today. If we gloss over this issue, we would effectively water down the gospel of Christ. Then it is not the good news. It is not good enough, definitely. Young people are talking to us in clear terms. They do not complain about highfalutin teachings. And evangelizers are fond of them. Or boring programs. Many of them are anyway. Or the prohibition of tank tops and short shorts in church. They complain about the seeming non-relevance of the faith messages we give them. We are gifted to give by being light to the world. Now tell that to your frappe drinking buddy at Starbucks. Does that really mean anything to him? Honest. Beware, our sanctimonious messages might sound as confusing as algebraic quadratic equations with 3 unknowns. Church people preach. I'm one of them. Evangelizers talk. You're one of them. But why are we still in the same mess? Young people ask. Young people want to see effective action. Young people want results, not words. Effective evangelization today must be tattooed with well-grounded socio-political action. This is preaching by doing. Even Pope Francis agrees. Enough said. I rest my case. Reflection number 2. Are you still with me, guys? Okay? We'll have to have still 98 to go. The language of evangelization today is inspiration. Inspiration is that moral ascendancy that sets people free from their limiting cubbyholes and leads them to bring out the best of who they are. If you have that inspiring person among you, hold on to him. He belongs to a rare breed of people nowadays. And inspiring people are happy people. Pope Francis reminded us that an evangelizer must never look like someone who has just come back from a funeral. The good Pope is telling us that a sore face has no place in the evangelizing arena. No one will approach a sour face. No one will bond with an angry heart. No one will follow a sad spirit. Only a happy face may qualify as an effective evangelizer. Only a joyful faith truly inspires. And as a servant of the word, you are your own endorsers of your message. People today, especially the younger generations, do not want to be talked to. They'd rather formulate the truth themselves. Audiences nowadays seem to be endowed with what we call a bullshit detector. They subject totem poles of authority to the rigid test of credibility. Remember, social media tilted the balance of power of communication in favor of the audience. This present media-savvy generation has such an easy access to information, they do not need people telling them what to think, what to believe, and how to live. They only have to go to Google. This is a truly interesting area for discussion in evangelizing fora nowadays. I am tempted to discuss this with you, but this topic needs a conference by itself. I'd rather save you the trouble. So how do you beg for their attention? Obviously, you are bringing the truth of your faith convictions. But to expect your audience to listen to you, nah. They want to feel you first. They'd rather see the endorser before they will bite the truth. Their mantra is, to see is to believe and to buy. It is mandatory, therefore, for today's evangelizers to be living, dynamic, and joyful witnesses of their own message. Your audience demands to see the Word alive in you. Only then will the gospel of Christ become not only good news, but a beautiful news, an exciting news, the attractive news. That is evangelium. But this will never happen, no matter how many smiles you plaster your face with. People out there want to feel that the light of Christ is burning inside of you. If that light is there, they will throw themselves to you. If it is not there, you are wasting your time. And the three sparks that will ignite the light of Christ in our hearts are: number 1, prayer. Number 2, prayer. And number 3, prayer. People, even those who do not pray, believe in the power of prayer. People will question your message. They will test your credibility. But they will always welcome a man or a woman of prayer. Putting prayer in simple terms, prayer cannot be faked. You either have it or you don't. In prayer, we find the joys of believing, the courage to keep on hoping, the staying power of loving. In prayer, we receive the smiles of life, joyful, bitter, or otherwise. In prayer, God transforms our hearts to be like His own heart. In prayer, God whispers His word gently to us. In prayer, He lights the candle within us. In fine, evangelization is not planting the seed of faith. It is nurturing the spirit planted by the good Lord. Everyone, every single person resonates with truth, compassion, and courage. The evangelizer is well aware of human waywardness, but he'd rather choose to celebrate what is good in people. His message is one that is attractive by nature. It is the evangelium, the good news. Coupled with the natural goodness in people, the evangelizer sees his gospel message as a powerful catalyst towards the common good. He nurtures an ecstatic faith, nothing less, nothing else. The evangelizer sees himself as an inspiration to many. He does not ram his message down the throat of others. Rather, he engages them with the joy radiating from his heart. That is what spirituality is all about. He is not a put-on. His genuineness is the fruit of his robust prayer life. Allow me to close and share with you an inspiring thought by the late Nelson Mandela, the father of a free South Africa. During his inaugural speech, among others, he said, and I quote, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God, and your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people will not feel insecure around you. We are born to make manifest the glory of God that is within. And it is not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our light shine, we unconsciously give the people the permission to do the same. And as we are liberated from our own fears, our presence automatically liberates the others. And if I may add my own salt, only a lighted candle can light other candles. Well, things must come to an end. Thank God. At the start of my presentation, I promised myself that I will be short, meaningful, and light. If I was not short, blame the organizers. They are good people anyway. If I was not meaningful, blame the organizers again. They are wonderful people, after all. If I was not light, blame the organizers till kingdom come. They are beautiful people. That's what they think. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for your patience. Please, pray for your priests. Mercy. God bless us all. Hasta la vista. Ciao.